Good evening, everyone. This is the October 27, 2022 meeting of the Studio City Neighborhood Council Public Safety Committee. Calling the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Let's do the roll. Raise your hand if you are here. Well, I'll raise my hand. Jerry, are you here?
Here.
Alexa, are you here?
I'm here.
And then Patty Kirby, verbal from you.
I'm here.
Scott Mandel is double booked as well, so he was here earlier, so I will count him as here as well. So looks like we have a quorum. Let's move on to agenda item number 2, which is approval of the September minutes. I distributed the minutes and see no objection. I will deem the minutes approved. Thank you for that. Chair update. Just a couple of things very briefly. The motion we passed last month passed the board last week. That one dealt with the defibrillators at public parks to do a report and an analysis of putting them in parks and whether some parks have them, and also the costs associated with those defibrillators. So that was passed, and that will be distributed and uploaded to the council file shortly. The other thing I want to mention is on November 13, there is a safety and preparedness fair. That's at Exposition Park on Hoover Street, which is a Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So they're going to have hands-on training for CPR, basic first aid, free emergency supplies for families, information booths, food trucks, and stuff to buy. I think there are going to be some companies that sell preparedness supplies. So that is happening on the 13th. I'll try to get this posted either in our section of the website or the SCNC. And a lot of neighborhood councils are supporting this. It's just not in our specific area, but it might be something that people in our area would want to partake. And that's about it for my update. Let's go to public comments and possible clarification on non-agenda items within the committee's jurisdiction. 1 minute per speaker, 10 minutes max each agenda item extendable by chair. If you are accessing the meeting by phone, please use *9 to raise a hand and *6 to unmute. Is there any public comment out there? No, see no public comment. Let's move on to agenda item number 5. An update from our senior lead officer, Sean Smith. Officer Smith, I see you there. Go ahead and take it away.
Our overall crime numbers are still way better than I even thought they would be. They're almost down a little over 13% for all Studio City. And of course, that's all of our category 1 crimes, basically crimes that officers are able to like interject in and stuff like robberies and assaults and stuff like that. We last year that's a year to date from last year. We've had some incidents of late within the North Hollywood area. I don't know if you have all heard of the arsonist. He burnt down the old lamplighter that a lot of you might have known about. I used to love eating there. I got upset when they closed, but we believe it's the same gentleman that lit that place that lit 9 other fires that day. We did catch the person. He had been early released from prison. He was on parole. He got released. He's a serial arsonist, got released in September, and then just went with the lighter and lit a vehicle, lit like I said, 9 other things on fire. He was caught right before he entered the city of Burbank, and he's awaiting his court date for that. It's one of those, we're very happy that nobody was injured. It's a horrible thing that happened, but at least we caught the person, and hopefully he will get, if he's found guilty, get the time and then the mental help he's going to need, because a lot of the time we see arsonists are constant repeat offenders. They kind of like go on the same level as the sex offenders. They're very hard to get them past that sickness that they have in their cells. So other than that, we have the officers in the area have been keeping they've been keeping real busy. We've been having some higher thefts down on the boulevard lately with retail stores. We did catch a couple of the people that were going into the marshals on a constant basis. There multiple times a week, taking a lot of items out. We have 2 people that were arrested from that. It was a great arrest, and they have a long, lengthy rap sheet of thefts as well. So hopefully they can combine everything together and at least stop that crime for a little bit. We did also have a sexual battery of a minor that happened on Ventura Boulevard, reported happened on Ventura Boulevard. It's according to the minor said that the suspect is a male white transient. We are looking for the person. We do not have good video. We don't have anything like that. You can imagine the minor's pretty shaken up about it. It's not a full sexual assault. It's a sexual battery, meaning no penetration, nothing like that. And we're very happy about that he was able to get away from this person and get to help. So we're asking the public, if anybody knows that had happened real close to Ventura and Colfax. So like I said, we've had detectives out there looking for camera systems and stuff like that. We've been up and down the LA River area looking for people, talking to the homeless people that we know that, very much upset that even happened themselves. So they're helping us look out for them too. And that's about it. We had a meeting earlier at Walter Reed. For those of you that might live around Walter Reed Middle School, the traffic is horrible twice a day, just like almost at every other school within the city of LA. LA was, schools are built a long time ago with a lot less people having vehicles back then. So they're just having some issues with that. And we continue to go out there and try to offer the support we can. But unfortunately, there's only so much that can be done in certain situations, and we only have so many motorcycle officers and everything like that. But we're trying to do the best we can. We're using a lot of our volunteer support, which North Hollywood area has a big volunteer program. We're trying to get it back to the numbers it was pre-COVID. We basically have if I told you all before, those little BMWs, the plug-in BMWs that they go out and about with those and use their amber lights. Or we also have some of them that actually use their own cars, and they kind of do a surveillance team kind of for us. And they never touch anybody themselves or anything. They call in officers, and the person, if they're caught doing a crime, gets arrested. So it's a great program. If anybody's ever wants to get involved, Studio City has the #1 participation from all the North Hollywood area, which is pretty cool for me. But if you're any at all interested, please send me an email, and I will send your contact information to Officer John Antonoli. He runs the program.
Great, thank you for the update. Let's go to public comment and then board comment. Will you field some questions, Officer Smith?
Sure.
Any public comment out there? Raise your hands. See none. How about some board comment? Go ahead, Patty.
Hey, Sean. I don't see that. I know that Scott is probably not live on this meeting, but I wanted you to give a shout out about how he personally led you guys to that capture of that guy that assaulted the homeowner.
Right. No problem. I thought I did this. I did it on the whole neighborhood council last time, but yeah, Scott, watches the different news for the area and pays attention to the different bulletins about wanted suspects. This is talking about the gentleman who assaulted the male with a metal pole. So he was riding his bike, which he does always. You can see by the picture right there. He's an avid bike guy, and so he's riding his bicycle, which I've seen him numerous times before along the LA River. He was down there. He recognized the person from the news. He had a hard time getting. He was put on hold for 911. Instead of waiting, he called me. He knew I was working that day. I was able to get resources down there. He kept a safe distance, but watched the encampment where the person went into. When the person, as soon as we got resources there, we went there, took the person into custody. The person confessed to the crime. Also had been wanted for a year and a half for burglary, huge criminal record, including assaults. So yeah, just a very good observation, a very good use of community working with police. It's outstanding. Like I said, I brag, like I get a lot of it from Studio City area, and the participation in the area is fantastic. Not only just the residents, but the people that own businesses and stuff too. But yeah, Scott was awesome.
Thank you for that. Let's see, Peter Cole, go ahead.
Sorry, I couldn't find my hand thing earlier. Hey, Sean. So, as you see, I don't know if you see my picture up there. There was a big accident. You probably know about it. That's right in front of Erewhon. It happened like around 7 o'clock in the morning. So while I'm out there talking to everybody, trucks are still parking on the no parking area right between this entrance and the loading dock. There's multiple trucks. I did hear one of the guys from Erewhon's talked to him and said, hey, we've sent out an email that you guys can't park here. So it appears that Erewhon has notified their vendors, but is there something more that can be done to kind of enforce this no parking area over here?
Yeah, I mean, the traffic person, I don't know if you've ever talked to Kevin Van Claven. I don't know if you've ever had him as a guest. He's basically the senior lead officer for traffic for North Hollywood. He works out of Valley Traffic Division. He went over there and had a meeting with a lot of people from there, including people from Erewhon, and told them, about what was going on, told them they needed to come up with a better system. They all stated that they would. He has advised me that he put in a request to get some motorcycle officers out there and to do some enforcement. We are down, just we have about 1/3 of the motorcycle officers that we've had 10 years ago. A lot of those, and I'm not, but not put them out. They were most of them a lot of older gentlemen in the past. A lot of them had since retired. We haven't had as many motor schools as we used to have. So those motorcycle units who do most of our traffic enforcement are just not in existence. So getting regular patrol officers out there to do that during any time of day when they go from call to call is just not going to really happen. I'll just tell you honestly. And unless we can get the motorcycle officers over there, it's going to be difficult at best to get those big rigs cited for that. And the traffic officers have way more expertise in doing stuff like that, but they're on board with it. He said he's going to get it done. He probably hoped he said he's going to get some people out there next week, and they're just going to work it for a couple hours and see what they can get. It's going to be a huge ticket. Anytime a commercial driver gets a ticket, they're not allowed to go to traffic school. So it really affects their bottom line. Truck drivers now getting $100,000 plus a year. So if you get in jeopardy of losing your trucking license, it's a huge thing. So, we're hoping that it'll clear up before then. I've had a meeting, a conversation with Ben Beasley and some other people from there. They said they're all over them about it. They were positive about us writing citations. They said they're all for it. It's like I said, it's getting the resources that we're very limited on down there. So, I know I say that I sound like, beating a dead horse, but like we're down 800 officers from just a couple of years ago. So, and that's not just North Hollywood area, that's everywhere in the city. And we just have record numbers of retirement. We just had 2 probationers quit without finishing their probation at North Hollywood the last month. So retaining officers is rough. But like I said, basically the car that I have for that area is the busiest car, our second busiest, give or take whatever month it is, and they go from call to call since the time they log on. So I'll go out there when I can, and I would encourage you all to get a hold of other resources within the city to try to hope up how many officers that we have as a division. That goes way above my head, but more requests from all of you all does help.
Thanks.
Are you serious that not to eliminate big cash? I should say, like demo them or car demo?
Anybody else?
Where did Jeff go?
Gosh, that's what they did. Trying to buy a fucking bottle.
Huh.
No cash.
Jeff, we lost Jeff? I
Yeah,
don't-
he shows off of it.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
so,
we lost him.
okay, so Sherry, Why don't, does anybody else have anything for Sean?
They actually have it.
I just want to thank you again, Sean, for hanging out in our neighborhood the other day. And I will get you the neighborhood watch leaders email.
No problem. You know, just too is like, I don't know if a lot of you know, it just depends. Studio City has cut up between two council districts. Those that live north of the river are still in Council District 2. You have a field deputy named Tiffany Zucchini that is the field deputy. She's awesome. I can tell you this much: they're the homeless encampment that was right next to Walter Reed, where people saw sexual acts going there real close to the kids. And then I went inside the female when she was on city property. She quickly just moved over the fence, makes it Caltrans. She stayed on them until Caltrans went there and did that. That is not her job to do that, but she really cares. I'm just throwing it out there to you. She's a great person to have. And then those of you like Patty and stuff that live close to Sarah, I would really love to see if your neighborhoods could get together and try to write out some kind of resolution that to have Sarah as a, no parking overnight location. We keep on having, stuff that goes there. Sometimes that's unsavory because how dark it is and stuff. And it's such a long stretch. It has to come from the neighbors about that. And of course I will back that up 100%. But Tiffany just jumped on there and got Caltrans down there. So she's not on this today, but if you live north of the river, you have a great field deputy, and CD4 has a great field deputy too. But I'm just saying that she was awesome with this. So just to let you know where that came from.
Tiffany has been very responsive for all the
Right.
issues, so that's good news. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, anybody else with anything for Sean? Just thank you again, Sean.
Absolutely. You all have a good night.
All right, thanks, Sean.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Sean.
So, there is, I don't see him back on yet. So I don't have the agenda in front of me, so maybe
Yeah, it's item
maybe-
number 6. Comments by any other public officials or staff?
public officials, Andy Solomon? Would you like to say something?
Hi, everybody. I'm Andy Solomon. I'm the neighborhood prosecutor from the city attorney's office. Can y'all hear me? I think you can.
Yes. we
Yeah,
can.
okay, cool. Sorry. So I was invited here to speak about the Park Motel. What I've heard recently is essentially that it's quieted down, but I want to hear from you guys what you're seeing, what you're observing, what neighbors are seeing. So let me know. Is it accurate that it's quieted down, or is it still a problem?
Sorry about that. My internet suddenly went down. I don't know what happened.
There you are.
I'm back.
Gotcha.
So we finished with Sean, and then we're jumped over to item 6. And I don't know how much you heard of the question about the park. Is it the Park Hotel?
Yeah, the park motel. So I was saying, Jeff, what I told you on email, which is I've received I'm hearing from LAPD that it's quieted down. I'd like to hear from the community if that's accurate, if there are things you guys are seeing that maybe the police aren't seeing. And I just want to know, just get my, thumb on the pulse on this. So let me know. And I'll field any other questions, obviously, as well.
So let's go to public comment. Anyone out there got some questions for Mr. Solomon? Seeing no questions from the public, how about committee members? Any committee members have questions?
No, but thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Much appreciated.
No, anytime, really. Just Jeff, you can email me anytime. I'm happy to join. And I'll try to, if I hear anything else, I'll reach out to you guys and invite myself.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Hey, Andy, one quick thing. What's the most common crime that you deal with, the city attorney's office in the Studio City area? What would you say is the most common?
Ooh, that's a question I don't quite have the answer to. So I am not the entire city attorney's office. Obviously, you guys know I'm
Understood.
the neighborhood prosecutor. So I don't track things that the branch office does in your area. I track things as they trickle in from either a senior lead officer, vice unit, something like obviously the Park Motel is a big project, and you guys. So I don't have a common trend. The biggest trend obviously was Park Motel. I mean, if we're looking at stats like Park Motel takes the cake, right? And all of that is like drug offenses mostly. So that would skew the stats. So that wouldn't be an accurate representation of the rest of the neighborhood, obviously.
How could I get those stats? Is there a point of contact for our area to get those stats? I'm just curious as.
I don't know if they're available to the public, but you're very free to do a public records request. There's a way to do it. And then we have a process to process those requests and give what information we have. I don't know if LAPD is also able to share. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. I don't try to speak for them, and I don't share the information they share with me because some of that is privileged between the two of us because it's a law enforcement to law enforcement information thing. But that's a good question. I'm not sure. I know there's a public records request process.
Got it. It's rather burdensome, and sometimes one doesn't get the answer one seeks.
Right.
How about on the party house front? Has the situation in the hills and whatnot calmed down?
From what I've been seeing, it's been calmed down. If a party house pops up and it's a repeat party house, please let me know or let your senior leads know. Obviously, I'm sharing, you guys are on a border between North Hollywood and Van Nuys Division. So you have Officer Smith, I think, was on earlier, and you have senior leads on our side on Van Nuys. We all work together if we need to. It's not an issue. But just let somebody know. And we share it between ourselves. Hey, this is, I think, across your border. No problem. As far as the party houses along the hill, it's not been too bad recently, but that's me not hearing about it. So I don't know if that's what's going on and people just gave up telling people. The best thing is call it in if you see it, because we look at stats on that. So if somebody complains to me about a party house, first thing I do is I go to LAPD and ask how many 911 or 877 ask LAPD calls there have been at that location. And if there's one in the whole year, then I don't really know what's happening, because I believe you guys. A lot of people just give up on calling 911. It doesn't have to be 911, ask LAPD usually, but do it, because the stats dedicate resources to certain things. So when we can show the captain, hey, there's all these stats, the radio calls of party houses at this location, the senior lead has a lot more ammo to say, hey, I want like somebody there. And if you guys, this is another big one. If you guys know that there's a party upcoming, let us know, let your senior lead know. I have now thwarted, I think, 3 major house parties, or maybe it was 4 in the last couple of years since COVID, where the neighbors saw posted signs or saw something online, told us, we contacted the landlord or the homeowner, whoever is like the highest up we can, and we've influenced the change. So that it does help to get there ahead of time, actually.
Great. Well, thank you for appearing tonight.
Sure.
Hope to see you at the next meeting as well. And we'll get the word out about Park Motel and party houses if people have any concerns about those particular places.
Yes.
And I'll let you go. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. Take care. I'm always around. Take care.
All right. Next on the agenda is update from the North Hollywood LAPD Community Police Advisory Board, CPAB members. Sherry, take it away. Good to see you.
Don't I look great tonight? Patty texted me, she goes, are you gonna be on the meeting? I go, what meeting? I'm going, when now? Oh my God, no, I'm gonna be without camera. I'm sorry. So I missed, most of what Sean was telling you. I just came in the time when we were giving accolades to Scott, which is well-deserved. He was a guest at our CPAB meeting last week. We had an open meeting and Scott was there, and we brought it up and in front of the captain and everybody. So he got recognized there as well. So he's our hero. I might, get him to be on our CEASE team and be one of our volunteers and going out on surveillance. So may snag him for that. But anyway, in CPAB, I can't even remember what our meeting was about. I've got so much on my mind. I'm busy concentrating on our our car show that we had for the first time this past weekend, and it was successful. We had mostly a lowrider group that came in, and those cars were absolutely amazing. I think that we made some good money on it. We're right now working on the Winter Festival that's coming up on December 17th. It's a Saturday, our big holiday thing at Whitsett Park with toy giveaways, and it's just going to be bigger and bigger. And I should know more at the next meeting. You know, we'll have more update of what's going on. Going to try to bring in snow again, or I know that, I don't know what Sergeant Menchaca was thinking about. We did lose our patrol captain, Captain Lozano. He's been promoted to captain. It came out Saturday night at 8:30. So he's now an area captain over at Foothill Division. So he's the big guy there. We have a new captain coming into patrol. Her name is Stacy Vince, I think. I have not met her. She's technically on the books now at North Hollywood, but she hasn't been in the station. She's been in training all week. She may pop in tomorrow to meet her new station and take a tour around. So once I get to know her, you know, maybe we can have her come and talk to us. But, you know, patrol captains really don't have a lot to say, and they're busy, and she's brand new. So it'll take her a while to get the ropes of what patrol's all about. We had a special guest come and talk to us last night, a retired captain, and she was the first female Black captain the LAPD had. And she was talked about her whole story of how she came up and everything. And she was absolutely awesome in her talk. I told her she should be out there recruiting new officers, the way she was talking and how she came up the ladder and how she kept getting stuck in vice, you know, and, you know, being the decoy streetwalker. And she got so tired of that, but they kept putting her into vice. So she had to keep promoting so she can get out of vice. And she knew a lot of the old captains that we knew at North Hollywood, Patty, and it was really great talking with her. But we were there at the station and then went inside and taking a new potential volunteer around to let her see what inside the station is and where everything is located, to get her familiar with that. And ran into a couple of the officers, and we were talking about the direction of LAPD and how concerned we are. And he said, "You're concerned." He says, "You wouldn't believe the stack of retirements that I'm getting, or people leaving the department." He says, "Every day he gets piles of them." That's a major, major issue that we're all going to have to face. And I just said, you know, it's really frustrating. What is the problem? And he says, because the morale is so low, they don't feel that their bosses will have their back, from the mayor to the police commission and the city council. And it's hard to get people to come and work for a department where they don't feel that the elected officials are there supporting them. So that is a big issue. So it comes down to basically who we put in office that will support the police, defend them, stand up to the media, get the real truth out there, and keep up the morale. You know, the captain said, "I can go in there and I can tell all my officers how wonderful they're doing, what a great job, and blah, blah, blah." He says, but it doesn't mean half as much as it is coming from the community to give, you know, to thank them for being there. And another thing that we want to do on CPAP, I did attend the citywide CPAP summit with all the 21 divisions and their captains and co-chairs and a couple of their members, and I had to do a presentation on it. And the chief was addressing us, and he wanted us to start in with try to reinvigorate neighborhood watches again. And we know that that's hard to do, to keep them active, because when a crime commits in their area, then everybody's on board. After a while, when things calm down, they become apathetic, and it's hard to keep them motivated. So Patty is always there to help anybody start a neighborhood watch. So if any of your people know of areas that don't have it and would like to have one, you know, Patty is the contact person, and Patty and I can come out. We can talk to, you know, a group of people and tell them how to get their neighborhood organized and all of that. So that's one thing. And then Commissioner Briggs, who's the president, also spoke with us, and he challenged all the co-chairs to bring in one person as a recruit for the department. And of course, they all left before I was able to speak, but I wanted to let him know, and I'll probably send him an email that, I'm sorry, but North Hollywood is ahead of that. North Hollywood happens to have just graduated a new officer from in July. And I happen to have a candidate with me right now that's in the process. He's getting ready for his background check. And two of our volunteers are now reserve officers. So I think North Hollywood is sort of like doing good. We're open in CPAB for new members. We're looking for new members. We want to expand it, not just in the Studio City area, but throughout the North Hollywood division. We're looking for members that are, should we say, south of 50 years old. We want to try to get more of the younger people in, and even the youth. So if you know of anybody that you think would be good for our CPAB, let me know. And when we have an open meeting, or we can send them a link if we do it on Zoom, and see if they're interested in joining us. And I heard Sean say briefly about the volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers. I'm in charge of, I am the civilian volunteer coordinator along with John Antonoli. So I'm also a contact person, and we could talk about the different things. And if any of you have an hour or two a week and you want to become a volunteer to come into the station, and whether you answer the phones or helping detectives, or even be part of our CEASE team, which is, you know, the uniform patrol and our neighborhood watch on steroids, undercover patrol that we go out there and we do operations. And we've been quite successful in the past. I know that we got a felon of a stolen bicycle because it was over $2,000. We just left the station, drove up to our area, which happened to be the Studio City corridor that night. And my partner and I were right there getting ready to turn right on Ventura Boulevard. And she said, Sherry, there's Man Bun. That's what we called him, because he had a man bun. That's how John described him from the hot sheet. And sure enough, it was him. So all the other cars came in, and we got him. And then John ran him and said, oh, he's from Florida. He came out here to California for rehab. Oh, his, you know, new track marks on his arm. Obviously, California rehab is not really that good. And then he comes back on and tells all of us, well, he's got a full extradition warrant for the state of Tennessee. So once he finishes his time here, Tennessee's going to come and pick him up. He's a homeless guy. And so he said, well, that's great. You know, so that's another felony arrest. Then we ran into the arresting officer about a week later, and he goes, oh, did you hear about Man Bun? We go, yeah, he was a prisoner. He was an escapee. He was from Tennessee, and he had a full extradition warrant. He goes, yeah, he was a prison escapee. So there he was, living in Studio City with a bunch of other cronies that were going around and stealing all the bikes. And I think he dropped a dime on them, and Sean was able to arrest a few more of that crew. So we do a lot of fun things. So volunteering is very important. Patty, was there anything else that we talked about? I can't remember. I don't have the agenda in front of me. It was a lot of things that were coming up, like our own holiday party and the winter festival and the car show, and getting people to sign up for that and to volunteer. The captain said that, you know, and I can hear, I listened to the scanner app, and there's calls coming out one after another for our area, for North Hollywood division. So Sean is right. The officers are running from call to call to call. And I talked to a unit that happened to be in front of Bevmo for that little incident that happened last week. And I was asking them, and he says, you know, we don't need to have time to do anything. You know, we go from one call and then we got to go to another one and another one. So we ask for patience, you know, and to understand that they are overworked and understaffed, and we have to do what we need to do in order to show our appreciation and be vigilant in our areas and be supportive of them and be conscious of who we vote for. I know that one thing that I heard about from a couple of people, that the two people that are running for city attorney, one wants to put a squelch on the neighborhood prosecutor program and doesn't want to prosecute, or even file misdemeanor charges. So that means any misdemeanor charge that somebody's arrested on, they're going to be kicked out too. And he wants to put a moratorium for like 90 days for a reset. So we just ask people to really do their research before they vote for somebody and understand what they, what their campaign is. Look through what they say on the trail, look at their record if they've been in office before. And this goes with the judges as well. We want judges that are not soft on crime, because until we get that, we're going to have a revolving door like we've seen for the past couple of years, and it just is only going to get worse. Patty?
I think you covered everything that I can remember too. So thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, because I know before when we had Donnie Graham and we were voting on Proposition 4757 and AB 109, the police department can't tell you how to vote or anything like that, but he said people will be so sorry if they vote for those propositions. They won't see the results right now, but they will see them. And we are being faced with what we voted on because we were sold, a bill of, a false bill. People will say, oh yeah, safe neighborhood, safe schools and blah, blah, blah. But when you look into and you read the whole proposition, that's not what it was. And so people really have to educate themselves and make sure that who they vote for is somebody that their policies agree with what you want them to do. So.
Thanks for the update, Sherry and Patty. Let's go to public comment. I see Susan Collins. Go ahead, Susan.
Hi, thank you so much. And Sherry, thank you so much for your update and for your advice on the election. She may not be able to suggest somebody to vote for city attorney, but I will. Heidi Feldstein Soto will definitely has every intentions of prosecuting misdemeanors. So I'll make that clear. I do have a question though. I had been reporting to several, actually anybody that would listen, about some of, not really abandoned cars, but broken down cars in the parking lot off of Ventura, well, actually on Ventura, right near Lankershim. I even submitted texts from people that had been robbed by them, comments that, the police weren't very proactive. And we've been submitting those since the end of July and saying, with photographs and, evidence, well, not hardcore evidence, but, comments from people that they've been robbed. And so finally today, I guess about 4:45 this afternoon, the occupants of that car committed an armed robbery and were arrested in that location. But apparently they've committed a string of armed robberies. So the lengths to which they had to go to actually see any sort of action is kind of alarming. And I'm just wondering if there's any way, I guess, we'd like to know. I'm sorry. So we'd like to know a little bit more about them, the occupants, if they have, how do we find out if they had priors, how long they'll be in jail, are they coming back? The community would like to know, have more details. Thank you.
The sheriff's department does have an inmate search, and you'd have to know their names. I don't know, maybe Sean might be able to give you their names and you can do an inmate search, because we've done that on Jonathan Ackerman. We kind of keep a track on him every time he's arrested. You just go on the sheriff's website where it says inmate search and you put in the name and it'll come up with the booking number. And if they've got bail set, or if they're out on bail, when their court date is. We won't know how many things, we don't have access to how many crimes they've committed. We don't have access to the rap sheet, and that is kind of confidential. It's kind of hard to get that information, but I know it's a problem with parked cars and vans and people living in them. The hands are tied again. Maybe it'll change once we get, new people in office. I don't know. The officers can't do anything unless somebody is living in the van. I mean, if somebody is living in the van, they cannot tow it. The towing of the vans or cars that have been abandoned or there, if nobody's in there, that's DOT. That's what they are supposed to be doing. So you have to report that to DOT. But definitely, maybe even contacting our city council rep. That might be a way to go to let them know about the issues and the problems, so everybody's aware of it.
We did. I did. I emailed the city council office, the prosecuting attorney for the area. I can't remember his name right now. The senior.
Kevin Duffner.
Yes, exactly. Thank
Yeah,
you.
he's our neighborhood prosecutor. Yeah.
Yeah. So I sent an email with photographs to a list of everybody and anybody. And again, even with the text from people saying, you know, that they had been threatened because when they were robbed, they were wearing their work uniform. And the occupants of the car told them, we now know where you work. If you report this, we'll come kill you.
Yeah, those are threats. I mean, definitely those need to be reported. I would say report it to their senior lead officer and over in that area, Lancashire. And what did you say?
It's on Ventura, right near Lancashire, across the street from the Subway store.
Oh, okay. Well, then that would be Sean. Yeah.
Reach out to Senior Lead Officer Sean Smith. He might be able to give you more information. I do know that one of the problems with abandoned RVs and whatnot has been lack of storage space. So the Studio City Neighborhood Council passed a resolution that actually came through this committee recently that I know that the city of LA is working on obtaining more storage facilities south of downtown just for that one purpose. So they can tow stuff, but if there's no place to tow it to and store it per the law, they're not able to do that. So that's been one of the problems with some of these RVs and whatnot. So
Yeah. And then also they have to have the hazmat team come out too and drain it, clean it up, and before it can even be towed away. So it's a long process. It's frustrating for all of us, but we have to stay on top of it. We have to complain and make our voices heard. I suggest, sending letters to the city council people, maybe all of them, going to maybe attend their meetings if you want and do public comment about it. And the same thing with the police commission meeting too. Those are just ways of getting our voices heard out there, another entity to do it.
thanks, Sherry. Any other committee comment? Oh, go ahead, Patty.
I would just recommend, maybe if you could send us the communications that you've sent to the council office, and maybe Jeff or one of us on the committee could also send it from the Neighborhood Council Public Safety Committee, which does get some attention. We have a little clout anyway sometimes. So if you could maybe copy Jeff, and is that okay, Jeff?
Sure.
And then we forward it on saying, please give us an update on this, something like that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Do you want me to send you the ones that I've already sent them?
Yeah, that's fine. Sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. Thank you.
Okay,
course.
Susan, do you have Sean's email or senior lead officer's email?
I believe I do.
It's 33751 at lapd.online.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, then any other committee comments? See none. Thanks, Sherry
You're
and
welcome.
Patty, for your very detailed updates as usual. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. All right, then let's go to agenda item number 8, discussion about possible mini town hall with local supermarkets about crime and loss prevention. So at our last meeting, one of the stakeholders, Mike Kapolsky, suggested that we do a town hall with some of the grocers in the area. Whole Foods, Erewhon, Ralph's, who else? Vaughn's. There are a lot of supermarkets in our area, and they have a lot of issues and problems. And he's involved in that particular industry, and he thought that getting them together in a kind of a mini town hall format might be helpful, and so they can reach out to and know who our senior lead officer is, and some resources. Maybe we could get the neighborhood prosecutors to show up and give suggestions to them because not all of them are in the loop about stuff that's going on. And I always bring this up, you know, the next door to the park and ride, the Ralph's right there was getting hit with $60,000 in losses each month because it was essentially the pantry for the park and ride occupants. So that happened for several months, and then once it was cleared out, the losses dropped considerably. So I'm thinking about having it. The issue is when. I think our next scheduled meeting is actually on Thanksgiving next month for public safety. So I don't believe we'll be having it during Thanksgiving. And then our meeting in December falls close to the Christmas holiday. So more than likely we'll have our next meeting, I would imagine, sometime in January. So it should give us some time to hash out some ideas about having this kind of mini town hall. So if you have any suggestions about that, please email them to me. And then I'll get in touch with Mike, and he can get in touch with the different grocers and get more information and see if we can have something in January. So everyone's there and everyone can learn about their unique issues and see if there are unique approaches that the neighborhood prosecutors and the LAPD can shed light on. So that was my thought. Any public comment about this? Let's go to public comment. Sherry, go ahead.
Okay. I think it's a great idea, and I think the town hall is a good idea. And be more than happy to, CPAP can be more than happy to help you get it out and to work with the captain and see what we can do. I know one thing that we've tried in the past that hasn't really worked is to get a business watch going. So it could be a business watch, and maybe we get some of the other people, you know, maybe you include Save On, not Save On, there I am dating myself, CVS and Rite Aid and those stores involved too, 7-Elevens, they're always getting it. So if we can develop some sort of a business watch in the Studio City area, we can maybe grow it throughout the whole division, and we could be like the grassroots group that does it.
That's a great idea, because it's not only the grocers that are, you know, getting hit by shoplifting and other crimes. It's those that are kind of similar to grocers, like you said, the drugstores and the 7-Elevens and the I mean,
And
the
even,
Village Market right there on Colfax and Moore Park.
yeah,
places like
and
that.
also too, some of the store like Lululemon, you know, I mean, a lot of those high-end stores, you know, even though it's not the food thing, but they, you know, have gone in there and grabbed stuff and ran. So if we can get something like that going, I know that our volunteer patrol that does the foot beat, we did one, was it today? I think we did one, or was it yesterday? We've been well received by those people, but we can't do them all the time. Again, we're having problems with our officer involved that, you know, John Antonelli, he's been on patrol for the past 4 months, assigned to patrol because of them being shorthanded. So he just came back for this deployment period. We don't know how long he's going to be back with us and how long he's going to stay with us. He may retire and leave in March. He may be fed up, you know, and leave in March, or he'll retire in July. That we don't know if we can get another officer assigned to our volunteer program. And I hope we will, because it's important. The chief believes big in volunteers. So we get more people on the foot beat, we can go out there and do it, because we do need a uniform officer with us as we go walking the boulevard. So that's something to think about, is just like expand it, see how many people are interested, and then, you know, take our streets back.
Right. I like that concept of like the business equivalent of a neighborhood watch.
Yeah. It's
I know
business watch.
the bid has something along those lines, but I don't know that it's as comprehensive. And then, you know, learn techniques to deal with, you know, loss prevention and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great idea. Any other public comment or committee comment for that matter about the issue? Let's see, seeing none. So feel free to shoot me an email or call me and, give me some suggestions like Sherry did. And we'll try to get something rolling for January. We have some time to do that. Agenda item number 9, discussion regarding potential topics for future meetings. Well, we just talked about one, but anyone out there, I'll go to public comment about this first. Some suggestions about topics for future meetings. Let's hear from the public on this. Seeing nothing from the public, let's go to committee. Any committee suggestions about future topics for meetings? Seeing none, let's go to agenda item number 10, which is closing comments. I think we've had a good meeting tonight. Sorry for my brief internet failure, but I got back on, and I'm lucky to have a couple co-hosts who skillfully stepped into my shoes and ran the meeting for a few minutes without me, so I appreciate that. We probably won't have a meeting next month, and December is going to be touchy given the holidays, so looks like probably our next public safety meeting will be in January. So let's try to have a loaded meeting for January and get lots of stuff done, because we'll be out of it here for a couple months. That's it. Let's go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second to adjourn?
I'll second, Patty.
Thank you, Patty, for that. Thanks for showing up, everyone. Great to see you and hear you, and good evening.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Bye.
Hi, sorry about that. Hello?